Welcome back, folks, to Let's 100% San Andreas. Last part, Carl finally got Sweet out of prison, only for Sweet to turn around and tell Carl that he's forgotten about the hood. So, we're back here in his house, and we're hoping to turn things around. Now, we didn't see Sweet in there, but let's see if he's back.
Just a little bit of party. I heard you was down, so I got a gift from B-Dub.
Come on now, I can't do that.
Come on, Sweet, come on. Make sure you enjoy this. This is a rich man's high. All the players are doing it. I know you're gonna enjoy this. It takes the pain away.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, what the hell you doing?
Shit. Man, everything is KKK. Man, I just want to see what's so good.
What's wrong with you, man?
Man, this shit already destroyed the whole hood. I might as well let it destroy me, too.
Man, you don't need that shit, Sweet.
What do you know about this? This is what it boils down to now.
Come on, Sweet, soak the smoke.
Hey, man, that shit steal your heart. You can't see that? This bitch talk nice to you and this what you do?
Fuck.
You're gonna have to deal with B-Dub.
What? Beat up? We can handle that shit right
Get
now,
your hands
then.
off
Get your
me.
ass out of here, bitch.
Notable change from earlier in the game. It's Carl who now makes the decisions as to where to go next. So now we're gonna go and fight B-Dub.
What were you thinking back there, bro?
Tired, man. Real tired. Tired of putting in the work and still shit don't get better. Tired of seeing my family fall apart.
Sweet, man, you got more heart than that. Sure, things are screwed up now, but we finna turn a corner, man. The day is coming when the Johnson family will be at the top, and it's coming real soon.
I hear you, CJ. You're there for us. I know that.
Hey, beat up! Open up!
Beat up!
Hey, open the door, punk!
Fool!
Yo, Dup ain't here. Moved out a while back.
Where'd he go,
Yo,
dickhead?
yo, you messing up the cat's colors,
Speak
dude.
up, fool.
Yo, I got some, a little something, just what you
And I don't
need.
want none of that shit.
No,
I'll
no,
split your
no.
wig right
Sweet,
now.
no, you tripping, man. Come on, put the gun down. He a basehead, man.
Shit, he wearing family colors? That's supposed to make him somebody.
Look, fool, tell us where Beat Up is, and we out of here.
He live over on Glen Parkaway. His boy always there. Give a cat what he needs.
You lucky.
I'd like to think that that's his new hobby. Now, well, in addition to smoking crack, is looking at doors, waiting around, giving people directions.
Oh, man, Glen Park.
Heart of Kilo Trades country.
Fuck it, I'm down. And that fool had it coming too long. We'll take the whole neighborhood apart.
Yeah, let's roll.
So, one of the, I think it actually is the first gang war territory we ever did was Glen Park. Perhaps as an indication of things turning around or us trying to get the family back together. Much like we were trying to expand before, we're gonna do it again. The fuck are some ballers?
Hit those ballers hard.
Johnson boys rolling through.
Okay. If the real life MacArthur Park had people just driving through it, it probably... Well, actually, no, I'm pretty sure that has happened. Damn it, that wasn't 3? What the fuck? Oh, he must have killed them off. There we go. So then, now we've provoked another gang war. On the Mac 10 that I'm currently using, I'm actually quite close to finishing its weapon skill. Like, it's not even a pixel wide. And when it transforms, or when we finally peek it out, it's a glorious feeling to see things fulfilled. Wow, okay, we're getting a lot of regular, uninvolved ballas. Should get our weapon skill up nice and fast. Survive the first wave. So, in order to speed along the... What the fuck? In order to speed along some of the different weapons, I'm gonna use this first, and then go for the MAC-10. Never mind. So instead, this is what I'm gonna do. Weaken the enemy with the MAC-10, and then gonna finish him off with the... Wait, where the fuck is the other guy? Jesus. Okay, so I'm gonna finish off groups with the sawed-off shotgun, because the sawed-off shotgun is too dangerous to use to take out groups, but it actually is quite good at taking out one person at a time. And I'll get to why I know that so well. But yeah, if you... Oh my god. If you look at this gun, this maxed out gun, holy shit, it's the craziest fucking thing. There we go, the hood is ours.
Okay, the neighborhood's sold up now.
No sign of beat up though, dog.
Check the place over there.
Alright. So they got an early head start on us. So right here, we gotta kill his guards. So let's do it with our newly upgraded MAC-10s. Fucking Jesus, this just mows them down. Special operative freaking Carl Johnson. There we go. And as I'm sure you noticed, Sweet was absolutely no help. Gonna refresh my health. Fuck off, police officer. Let's go and meet Beat Up.
Say something!
Hey, nah, I ain't had no choice. I was threatened. Shit came from the boss, homie.
What? Pop this motherfucker, man. I'm tired of hearing this bullshit.
Nah, man, I'm sorry, dog.
Huh?
Smoke's fucking crazy. He paranoid. Just sit in the house thinking other fools want his business.
Where's Smoke?
I can't tell you
Then
that.
I'll snatch your fucking tongue out!
I ain't saying nothing, homie, because I don't know. Only his lieutenants know where he at.
I'd have wet your shirt anyway!
Bear! Hey, Bear, get the fuck out here.
What's up, your lordship?
Kill these motherfuckers, and I'll give you a whole quarter sack. Now handle that. Shoot him. The fuck is wrong with you? You ain't hear what the fuck I said?
I'm tired
Bear,
of
what the
smoking.
fuck you doing?
I'm tired
Come
of
on,
praying,
man.
And I'm tired of doing your fucking housework.
Oh, shit.
I'm free!
Man, what the fuck you do that for, man?
CJ, man, come on, put me back on the team. Give me 20 bucks and I'm all yours, man. Blast from the past.
Hey, let's take a ride, homie. I'm gonna shoot you somewhere you gonna enjoy.
I got Bear's back, man.
All right, I'll see you in a minute, Bear.
Where we going, sweet?
Someplace we can get old Bear back.
All right, I'm down for that.
Okay. Ah, dang, I forgot. His car blew up. So, inexplicably, this guy's car, Beat Up, for some reason, you couldn't enter it. So, I had the idea to push it all the way to a garage, but unfortunately, it blew up in the middle of the mission, as I'm sure a few of you noticed. Now, for these two missions that we're doing in this part, I'm hoping to be able to use them to upgrade some of our weapons. So, for swarms of enemies, I used the MAC-10 until it got upgraded. Now, I'm gonna try to go to the desert, or get a Desert Eagle, and upgrade that. The Desert Eagle, I believe, is actually the lowest skill we have on a weapon. Excuse me. And, oh my god, it's still doing the stuttering bullshit. Fucking hell, okay. So, I need to talk about why I might be a little bit in practice for this. So, when I attempted to record this twice. Both times I was about an hour and 50 minutes into recording. If a game crashes while Bandicam is running,
I can meet all your home defense needs.
Then it will actually corrupt the video.
Wise choice, sir. Wise choice.
And because of that,
If the cops ask, you didn't
everything
get
I
it.
had was just completely lost.
Perfect for killing, pure and simple.
Now, I don't know if this is going to make me better or worse at the races, but might help or hurt.
In a crowded area.
So, the next mission is another territory collection mission, or takeover mission, I guess would be more accurate.
Okay? I didn't sell you this, right?
And these are 2 in a row, which can be kind of scary. So,
Wise choice, sir.
I was originally going to go under the bridge to collect the armor, which I haven't had to do since being in Los Santos previously, or for a long-term period of time, I should say.
There are cultists everywhere, friend.
And this time, I'm gonna do it for this game. Or sorry, I'm gonna do it for what am I saying? Damn it, I legit forgot where my sentence was going. Whatever. Let's start this up with full body armor. And this time it starts at Sweet's house. Alright, I may also be playing worse because in the act of attempting this twice, I actually really hurt both my thumbs and fingers.
You gotta love your hood like you love your homies. It's always been that way, and ain't nothing ever gonna change. I done seen it all. What up, CJ?
What's up? Yeah, I'm glad to see things back the way they used to be.
Nah, it ain't like it was, but it's gonna be. We still gotta get everybody in the hood back together. I was just telling these cats what's important. We gotta let everybody know Grove is back on the map.
Hold up, don't you think we ought to take it easy?
What?
You know I got other things in mind. Commitments I made.
Can y'all step outside for a minute? I need to talk to him. If you don't get this shit together, what you think this place is gonna look like? You always did real good leaving jobs half finished.
That's cold, Sweet.
Man, we can't take care of this from no bitch-ass rapper's mansion.
Look, the world's bigger than this hood.
This is where our lives begin and where it's probably gonna end. And don't forget where you came from, Mr. Uppity-ass nigga.
Now that ain't fair.
Oh. Somebody just crossed out all the writing on the wall, disrespected your hood, and you act like you don't give a fuck. That ain't fair.
Okay. Have it your way. Come on. So you got a plan?
Yeah, I got a plan. We gonna roll in the baller's hood and take it back for the Grove.
Okay, let's get those motherfuckers.
I've never seen this animation.
Come on, dude, roll with me.
I've never seen just a gang member lean up against a... That's not it. A gang member just lean up against a car like that. That's weird. And... fucking hell, no more gang members. Not that there's much help. Anyway, it's time to take over some parts of Idlewood. I believe this is the section that was previously inhabited by Big Smoke. You know, that was supposed to be a sort of stronghold, but now it's just taken over by Ballas.
Man, you gotta ease up some.
Now I gotta look for some Ballas, and there we go. Time to start a war. So yeah, whenever you go to a gun that is ultra low in its rating, it will immediately fill off. A lot of its shot will just miss. Jesus Christ! These guys just snuck up on us. Oh my god, these guys are... The cops are on Tenpenny's side. Oh my god. Oh my goodness, look at these freaking guys are useless. You're not defending your back, they're just fucking pissing around. There we go, survive the first wave. Yeah, and the Desert Eagle is very slowly accruing skill. The non-machine guns are actually are much slower than the other ones because I think they actually all still use the same bullets as reference, or the same bullet number as reference, and that's ultimately what matters in upgrading your weapon, is whether or not is how many bullets you've taken. But thankfully, what happens most of the time is that oh my god. Thankfully, what happens over time is that the guns become immediately better, or I guess noticeably better. There just comes a point at which you're like, yup, it worked better. So that was a few waves of Ballas, a few waves of police officers, funnily enough. And now we got 2 health pickups if we really needed them. But the bigger thing is actually... keeping our armor as full as possible. There we go. Desert Eagle skill up, and now I think it's like a little bit faster. There we go. Hood is ours.
Grove Street Busters. Let's go who ride on these balls.
Alright. Now, Sweet is an exceptionally slow man. Like, for somebody who is not overweight, he very much struggles to keep up with the people in, he very much struggles to keep up with anybody. So I actually had to put him in a car, specifically just so he doesn't fucking piss around and take forever to find where CJ is. So now I'm gonna be on the hunt for Ballas, and here is a few. Let's put out take out our sawed-off shotguns. Then there we go, 2 down. Just gotta beat 1 more, and we should be able to start a gang war. God, I see what I meant about him being slow. There we go. Must not have gotten much exercise in jail, or too much. Oh my god, I was like, is that ambulance gonna run them over? And once they did, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this has to be a joke, right? Oh my goodness. So yeah, once again, the strategy, once in low numbers, use the sawed-off shotgun. In high numbers, the Desert Eagle. Because you don't want to be a bullet sponge against these guys.
Go blast them fools. Let's go, bitch. Hey, you want this to get uglier? This it?
There we go.
Come on, man, keep up. Go blast on them fools.
I literally didn't move, and Sweet still got lost.
Hey, over here. Come on, keep
And once
up.
again,
You dealt with.
the obvious point of improvement is holds true once again. And Jesus, that was a lot that just spawned in. It's too bad there's no like penetration. I could have phrased that better, but there's no
CJ, fool.
there's what would be another word? There's no
Shit. Come
piercing.
on, man, keep up.
These guys are just running away. What a bunch of pussies. Oh my god. Are they just oh my god. They didn't want to break the law. They were concerned with jaywalking. So in order to cross the street to come after us, they fucking walked to the corner and actually used the crosswalk. That's fucking hilarious.
Them homeboys need to be silent.
Alright. And this is where the Desert Eagle is starting to feel like a fucking 50 caliber handgun. Actually, I don't know like what the caliber of Desert Eagle is.
Get it, CJ. Let's bail back to Grove Street.
There we go. It's also the good thing about taking a car. Now you can get one back. While it's not a bit underwhelming to just see, it's like, oh yeah, one more place to take over, what's the difference? That actually can be a really tough mission if you didn't prepare with enough armor, because finding this stuff on the spot is actually really tricky. Like, I remember in practice I actually failed that mission because I took way too much damage.
You help Grove Street family handle those ballers.
Johnson boys rolled right over.
Okay, dog. I'm gonna get some sleep. I'm beat. Here, I took this from one of those baller fools. Probably drug money. Here's your half.
$20,000 in drug money, and that's our half. Now, I'm sincerely hoping that I actually get a call that my hood is under attack, because otherwise, this might be I'm gonna get a very unpleasant interruption eventually. Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, oh dear, I'm not gonna get interrupted now, so there's gonna be an issue later on. Yeah. For some reason, my game has been stuttering a little bit at a time. Thankfully, it seems to be down from before, because I actually, in order to deal with my game crashing and even my recorder bugging up, and for some reason, because I upgraded it, and the upgraded version actually can't play San Andreas for some reason, or can't record San Andreas. But anyway, here's the big side quest for this one, and this is why this video will likely be over an hour long. I have to do the races for all of them. This is actually required for 100%. So here we go. It's exactly what you'd expect from a race. Just go from place to place, but I don't remember this one. So it looks like the default race for this game is kind of oh shit, I forgot there's no adjustable camera. So there doesn't appear to be a default race for this game, because I think the previous times I got defaulted to two different ones. One was a freeway one and another was a motorcycle race. This one is the much more straightforward, just lowrider race, which I think... No. I was gonna say that I think this one was one I did before, and got a. Wait, yeah, I think this is actually a. I think this is a refight of the one from the Caesar mission. Ah, dear, this may be unnecessary. Oh boy. I've already had the feeling multiple times of effort ultimately going to waste. Hopefully this is not another case of that. And we're gonna make it down. Yep. So car races most of the time are not that difficult, but you'd be really surprised where things start to come up. Oftentimes what's not the problem, or the problem isn't like the difficulty of the racers in question, it's often the geography that you fight. And here are the two races that are already done, because these are actually, this is, I think the mission name is Wuji Mu, and this one is Farewell My Love. Those are races that you've done previously, so you don't have to do them again. I think this one also might have been that. Excuse me. Now, start with a little loop. Surprisingly, for one of the first races you actually see here, this is probably one of the hardest ones. And it's twofold. One, motorcycles in general are going to be much harder because, oh god, they can swerve you around much more easily and can seemingly do so without actually causing themselves to spin out. Oh my god. The other thing is that you're quite prone to traffic. And another thing is that since everybody's in motorcycles, catching up to them is pretty brutal because they are very good at maintaining their top speed. They don't have to slow down that much to stay ahead. And yeah, okay. I thought I was gonna get a lot of distance there, but nope. There was somebody way ahead of me. If I actually manage to beat them, I'm gonna be shocked. Yep, second place. Oh dear. So yeah, this is one of the harder missions, and I think this is one of the harder missions as a race. Because that's the two types of, there are two types of hard with the races in this game. One is the actual racing. The second one are the ones where it becomes an endurance slash, how would I call this? Like no damage run, or like a damage management run. Those are more of an endurance round, and these are actually a race. Whoa, boy. Woo. And we're going ahead. Sweet. So yes, this is mostly going to be filled with race, with racing. So, oh my god, really? Fucking hell! Maximum bike skill to not fall out, and the stuttering begins. Lovely. Alright, and there we go. Thankfully that didn't cost us. I managed to finish it. Eventually I am going to start talking about random shit, because there's only so much you can say about a lot of these races. This is another one that's actually very difficult, for a lot of the same reasons, because it's, once again, motorcycles, so you can get tripped up very easily. On most motorcycles, and in particularly true on this one, because I think there's a ton of lampposts and a lot of random crap on both the sidewalks and the cars, you can just get completely fucked over if you clip anything. Whereas on a car, it's like, yeah, you might turn a little bit, but you aren't gonna spin out. And of course, everybody's fast, so first place is very volatile. In cars, once you get ahead, you have to really make big mistakes to get out, or to make it back. It's usually the case of like easy to keep your lead, but hard to recover. This is kind of the opposite. You can always catch up decently. Jesus, that makes me nervous. You can always catch up decently well, but doing it, you can always catch up decently well. It's just really hard. You have to fucking drive your ass off. So I would say this is probably the most skillful, yet also the most punishing, for what it's worth. Now, this is where you can really make some distance, because this turn is not, it's not the turn, it's this one. Yeah. Oh dear. Oh boy, clean install of San Andreas, clean install of the downgrade, which is a weird thing to say, and still getting the stuttering. And I don't know why, because I didn't have this before until I didn't have this until I fucking installed my new hard drive, and somehow this is fucking it up. This isn't even, okay, well now it's on one of the new hard drives, but I don't know why it's on it, why I'm having this issue now. Give me a second. Anyway, back here. And now we're on City Circuit. So, this one is another kind of volatile case, but it's like where you can recover that's no... Oh my god. And like I said, it's stuff like that that makes the motorcycle races much harder. Because it feels sometimes like these guys just want you in last place. And looks like what I thought was going to help you. What the fuck are these guys doing? They're all coordinating? What the fuck? They all went to the left lane for no reason. There's no benefit. Oh dear. But, yeah, this one you can get a lot of speed, but it's like but because everybody can catch up to you so easily, yeah, one mistake and you can be in last place very quickly. So this is very punishing. Alright. Thankfully I'm doing okay. And right there is one of the design choices around the race that I actually think is very... It's not always done well, but when it's done smoothly, it feels natural the way to go. Because here's the thing about racing in Grand Theft Auto. A lot of people think it's just as easy as like finding finding a place that would be fun to drive in. I don't know, it's not that simple because you have a lot of areas that people can drive in, and because of that, like determining which place people should turn is actually kind of a tough task, because if they could read your instructions like, oh, it's in the next checkpoint's in this direction, so I was like, I have to make this turn, obviously. There's one here that's a really obvious bad choice. But most of them are actually pretty decent about directing the player towards the right roads. And right there, I took advantage of the very generous hitbox of some of these checkpoints. It actually allows you to avoid getting into complete catastrophes with the other cars. And this race is also a good showcase for a lot of the variety of cars we have here. Like, they don't just have a bunch of sports cars and a lot of fast motorcycles. Here we have very ordinary cars. Later on, the ordinariness of some of the cars actually turns out to be an advantage. In some regards. Fucking clip the barrier on Mad Dog's mansion. Ugh, Jesus, it's stuttering. To me, I just take this as a sign that the program is about to crash. So, in order to minimize that, I'm actually going to be recording this in segments, which either way, this racing naturally lends itself to recording in segments. So yeah, kind of nervous. And of course I have a bunch of natural anxiety for just a bunch of random crap happening online. Ah, Jesus. And of course, just the lingering disappointment of my own like previous recordings. So I'm like, okay, this is my 4th time doing it, including my previous practice run. It's like, Jesus, I think I've hit that sidewalk before, and I don't know why it's that raised. Jesus, it's like nobody in a wheelchair is going up this. Oh dear. And there. Come on. Okay, sweet. So we've got nobody following us from behind, and we're just about close to our closed circuit. Also, this camera angle is not a default. This is the default. What's going on there is that I always have trouble seeing the cars ahead of me like this, especially once it gets dark. Most of the cars in this game are dark blue, gray, dark red, and like brownish. A lot of those colors start to blend into each other during when you're driving really quickly at night. Now, it's not as bad as it is in GTA 4, but it can be really annoying. So now we're in fast sports cars. This I recall being one of the most frustrating missions in my 2nd attempt, but I think that was more because I felt like I was getting sabotaged by the police. Oh dear. I turned the wrong way there and it just cost me. Oh dear. Yeah, that turn fucks you up all the time. In practice, I flipped over my car 5 times on that turn. And this is also where the first unintuitive turn happens. So, right here, you can see it's like, okay, turn left at this intersection that has an that obviously you can't go straight in. So right here, oh, slight right. So you can kind of see it right here, so you can turn. This one is the confusing one. With the way it's designed, you'd think turn left here. No, that's not where you do it. It's right here. Now, you could argue that it is intuitive from the name of this race, which is Freeway. But a lot of people can't remember the names. They're just going through these one by one. And it's not like it's like a low... It's not like there's a constant reminder around you. There we go. Oh my god, that fucking taxi. Jesus. Scared the piss out of me. Come on, flip over. Ah. Well, not that it would have helped us that much anyway. From previously, or from practice, I had a weird occurrence happen. From the sky, dropped perfectly straight down one of the racers. And I think it kind of confirmed a theory of mine with these. That is like, oh, if somebody dies, they don't just let their place be unoccupied. They bring somebody in. I think I just fucked that guy over. Or he was trying to fuck me over and got himself... No! Aw, damn it. And fucked himself over in the process, but that guy really fucked me over. Ah, Jesus. And I think this turn is it. Yep. Fuck! Once you start drifting with a lot of these cars, it's just, oh my god, of course I got last fucking place. Shit. Like what I said about the mission being frustrating. Whatever. Man. Okay, back on. So, might as well start talking about the random crap. These races actually remind me a lot of something in GTA 5, which is the really, the customized as hell races that some people make, where they get these really cool cars that fucking, they can just wall ride. And it doesn't make a lick of sense, but it looks so fucking cool, and it makes a lot of the races look awesome. It is like stuff like that that actually I think is the real benefit of games like Grand Theft Auto, that because the physics engine is not necessarily designed for just driving alone, you can just do weird things in it. And it's again, I think a lot of the appeal of these games is that they have these singularly big appealing things, that being kind of the mayhem you can cause in the game, but then they have all these secondary things that add these layers of appeal, and they may branch out into who enjoys what the most, but the point is somebody enjoys this, and that's kind of what I think a lot of people are missing from a lot of the broader design AAA games. It's like, oh yeah, here's the central core that probably a lot of people will like, but there's a bunch of little things that will be somewhat divisive, but somebody will really enjoy this portion. Most games nowadays feel like they're designed to just be like, okay, this is the portion for this gamer, this is the portion for this type of gamer. I'm like, who would, it's like, it seems like a very poor design choice, because I'm like, that guy, whoever enjoys that one part doesn't want to have to trek through the parts he doesn't enjoy. So it was like, why not have one large core that has generally broad appeal, and then a bunch of secondary cores that is like may not have broad appeal, but a lot of those are just optional. Kind of a good example of that is actually Resident Evil 2. It's like Resident Evil 2 is just like people really enjoy feeling scared, so we made a game designed to make them feel scared. But then there's also these other things that you can do, like beat the game for time, try to collect all the items, try to collect all the lore. Now, that being said, ooh, okay, now we got the big one. Hang on. Before I get on that topic, this is what I meant by the endurance type of race. We have we have a race that goes so long that every accumulated piece of damage starts to matter more and more and more. And if you don't take good care of your car, you're gonna blow up. There's no healing these. Well, there might be cheating if you use cheat codes, but I don't really want to do that. And if you fail, gotta start over from the beginning. And since these are such long races, they can be really nerve-wracking, really stressful once things get kind of, once your car starts to take way too much damage. Thankfully, I'm doing alright so far. But that's one thing you'll start to notice, is the way that cars change lanes. Every car does the exact same lane-changing animation, and some of them are fast, some of them are slow, some of them are shockingly slow, and some of them are shockingly fast. Ah, dear. At faster speed, everyone will do an almost mechanical lane change. That almost seems impossible with the speed they're going at. But it's like, it's infuriating when they just cut you off really hard. I guess they want that insurance money. But with, I think I was talking about games with strong cores, and then they, like, fill out the rest of the stuff that actually is good in the game. That does kind of, that can still lead to problems. Like Resident Evil 2 has some of the funniest complaints and reviews I've ever seen, where it's just people who clearly didn't want to play a Resident Evil game, but like almost, it's people who like don't want to be left out, and they're like, oh man, everyone's talking about playing Resident Evil 2. I'm not really into horror games, so I'm gonna try it. And it's also led to some of the funniest mods I've ever heard of. And I don't mean like haha funny mods, I'm just like, what the fuck are these guys at? Like, people are asking, is like, is there a mod where you can remove all the zombies in the game? And I was like, what the fuck are these guys doing? It's like, you bought a horror game to not make it a horror game. I guess you paid for it so you can do what you want, but why? And I think this is kind of leading into a weird generational pattern, because it's like, I noticed there's two like sort of newer generations of gamers where it's like one that kind of look at games as, oh Jesus, as their avenue to express creativity, and they've kind of, and you know, game companies have appealed to that by fucking microtransacting the fuck out of the ability, oh Jesus, out of the ability to be creative or look superior. And you know, that can be really scummy. But it's like, but a lot of times it's like, okay, whatever. They did this to an extent, but they locked it behind an achievement. I'd prefer stuff like that to be the case. But then you see like the extreme of that, where it's just like, okay, it's like you either pay $5 or you do a fucking absurd task in Street Fighter V. I'm like, okay, Jesus Christ, man. But anyway, that's all the races in Los Santos. So now we have to go to San Fierro for our next set of missions. Oh my god, it happened again. So, this happened to me last time. Is literally the same place too. It's like right as I'm trying to leave Los Santos, the hood is getting attacked. Couldn't have fucking timed it more beautifully. It's like as soon as I get even remotely out, I couldn't have gotten any further away without like leaving Los Santos altogether. But now this is the return of this mechanic. The hood is under attack. Officer, what are you doing? That officer wants to sue me because did you see what happened? My car was rolling over. He jumped underneath where it was going to land and just like fucking faint. He's like, I'm suing you, man. Oh my god, what a fucking hospital chaser. I guess he doesn't want to risk his life anymore. Holy shit. Did I say hospital chaser? I meant ambulance chaser, but I guess that's a lawyer, not somebody trying to sue you. Lawyer chaser, whatever. On both times that this has happened, I actually did the missions correctly, but this really makes me want to wish I failed the mission, because the time I did this, because the time I got the easy route on this was when I failed the mission previously. Oh shit. Oh my god, I don't know what it is about the sawed-off shotgun. It misses half of its blasts. I don't know why. There we go, that showed them the area remains yours. Although previously it was the, it was not the Vargos, it was the... Oh shit. It wasn't the Vargos that, were taking the, land, it was the Ballas. Anyway, time to take the Hustler all the way. God damn, this needs a smog check. But let's take it to San Fierro. Okay. I got some water down the wrong pipe, but I'm gonna go into the next race next. And I'm slightly more reassured, as even with the stuttering, I've already done the first segmenting. So now here's some of the races. This is the first time we're going to do the off-road races. Well, I guess technically no, because the Wuji Mu one was. So let's go with Dirt Bike Danger. The really weird thing about this mission is that it's surprisingly easier than the than the other motorcycle ones, because like it feels like it's actually easier to stay on a dirt bike than on a regular motorcycle. But I don't know if that's because I'm no longer in a city circumstance. I'm off-road. An area that the dirt bike was specifically designed to be a part of. Now, how good the dirt bike is for these types of races, I don't know. Okay, and that was the other thing I was worried about, is that the dirt bike's actual biggest problem is that it can be a little bit unpredictable as to how it bounces off the roads. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, and I think my previous point was on generational shifts. Because I think I talked about the creativity as how, like, the reason I brought that up wasn't to bemoan, like, microtransactions again. It was actually that a lot of people really just enjoy a platform that lets them come up with creative ideas. I used to see this a lot with Metal Gear, because that one actually, like Metal Gear Solid 3, if you see some old Japanese videos. I think it was like well, it wasn't Alex Fang. It was somebody else. But it was actually what really interested me into a lot of the detailed Metal Gear Solid 3 stuff. Not exactly the thing that made me want to start recording and uploading my own videos, but it was really interesting to see what these guys do. Like, they did like a quasi speed run, but it was always just this weird shit. Like, you could chuck, I think it was like animal meat, and then hit the guy in the balls from behind. Oh my god, that tractor was there to sabotage me before. They're not getting alive out alive this time. Damn it, got away. But yeah, a lot of stuff that used to be like, it's like you found creativity in a game that encouraged it, but it wasn't centralized around it. Now it's a lot of games that are centralized around it, or like a certain amount of I guess it would be, I wanted to say like self-insertion, because those also are customization games, but then like a lot of them aren't really. I don't know, a lot of stuff they just kind of overlap with self-insertion, because a lot of times the way they pull this off is just through a character creation screen. And that's what I think was kind of an underrated creeping element of the last generation, is that now a lot of games let you be fucking whatever you want. Is like, now a lot of the character creations aren't that great, but they got better than they used to be. And hell, you would even see this in games where they did allow it previously and then they got better. Like a lot of the wrestling games, sorry, a lot of the SmackDown games got fucking crazy creative suites. They're bugged to shit now, but that's because it's Take-Two who's in charge of it. And Take-Two is also now in charge of Rockstar. Which actually gets me to another point I've been meaning to talk about. When people talk about San Andreas, it's often the idea of, oh, this game should be remade. Two things. One, the people who were in charge of a lot of these older games, it's kind of clear that they made them with the intention of just sort of being able to create a world where all of their favorite movies can somehow coexist. Like, if you go back and look through the details of Grand Theft Auto 3, it's like, okay, now this is like Goodfellas, this is like Godfather, because that's why everything is, and this is like this kind of crime movie. So it's all just their favorite crime movies, just bundle them all together and make them exist in one world. And that's especially true on Vice City, where it's everybody's favorite 80s movies fucking happening all at the same time. And obviously, like, somebody on their writing staff really loves Scarface. And with this one, you kind of see it with references to movies like Boys in the Hood and shit. But I think that can't really happen anymore, because now that Grand Theft Auto is known to people as both a franchise that has lost a lawsuit and a franchise that makes billions of fucking dollars, there's no way they can make these kind of explicit references anymore without getting dragged into lawsuit hell. And, you know, having to creep around that kind of legal tape, that can kind of suck a lot of the fun out of the creative experience for some of these guys. So they put less heart into it, and it's kind of the kind of the creeping problem of just quality drop because they're not interested in as much in their central vision. But another thing is that people have to face the reality that when they mean a remake of San Andreas, they mean, oh, free of microtransactions. They would definitely do that. You know, they just touch up the graphics, they'd expand the actual map. But I'm like, no, they wouldn't. They would fucking partition off some of the map and then just slowly expand it and then sell you all the things that were in the original through microtransactions and DLC. It's like, if you've like heard about like how much money Take-Two have made from Grand Theft Auto 5's online mode, you'd fucking know they're gonna do it for this one, especially since they would just use that as a base. It actually kind of like scares me when I hear people say like, "Oh, I want a remake." They assume that they're gonna make the remake the way they want it to be made. No, they're gonna make the remake the way that's gonna make the most money. Not necessarily in the short term. They take advantage of like getting people to feel frustrated or what's the term? Frustrated or inadequate in the exact right way where they're going to cough up and pay money. It's kind of the unfortunate reality that that somehow makes money. It's like it's like, you know, make money. They found what? Fucking final frame busted. Are you joking me? That was the Rockstar Police. They heard me talking shit about their business model, so they fucking came out and busted me. But they don't know I'm fucking in bed with one of their officers, so I got out scot-free. I got all my weapons and shit. Oh my god. Oh, at least I hope I did. I did a clean reinstall of San Andreas, kept all the save files, so I should be good. But I've noticed that my set devolved to the defaulted to the fist. So hopefully I have my weapons that I don't have to redate the girls. Let's see. Come on. Yes. All right. But yeah, it's like business people. They don't think the way that like fans think. Okay. Fuck whatever I was talking about. Not because of the Rockstar Police pursuing us all, trying to bust me. This is the hardest race in the entire set. Or sorry, no, not the entire set, in the entire game. So, this is a race that is not punishing here. When you go up a hill later on, if you don't have enough momentum, this car can't actually gain enough traction to go up hills properly. So you will slow to a crawl while these other guys in their shitty cars actually manage to climb uphill better. It is absolutely infuriating to be in first place and slowly watch these guys creep up behind you. It's a very deceptive way that this is difficult, because fucking hell. You don't realize like how fucked you are until you start seeing those guys sliding up the hill and beating you when you know you outdid them. But thankfully, I already got some momentum. Thankfully, I got some distance. So whatever momentum I'm losing on these uphills is being saved. And I'm getting very good luck with the traffic. No! What? That had to have been sabotage. Did you spot that? That taxi wasn't actually in its lanes. It was on the crosswalk. It was there to fuck you over. It was like, nah, dog, you think you're getting first place? I'm afraid you gotta pay me some. That's Rodney the Piper. He's after his money. But thankfully, we actually completed that, and that was much easier than I expected it to be. Every other time I did this, it was fucking brutally hard. And here we have another endurance race. But that's kind of the sad reality of a lot of the games, is that they've become a lot of the cash grabs. And the business-minded people, like, as I said, they don't think like fans. Not only do they think like, it's like, okay, does it make more money? The big thing with... Oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? Alright, whatever. The big thing with most business people is they don't think like normal people. Like, business people are fucking insane. The most successful business people don't see business as just a means of doing something. To them, it's almost like their affirmation of their influence on others. Is they want to have... They don't think it's like, this is enough, this is enough, this is enough, this is good enough. No, it's... How do I get more? Because it's not about enough. It's about... What the fuck? It's like... I remember somebody saying it's like business isn't business, it's conquest. And that's how most people think. It's like to them, it's like, what's the next thing? And that's actually what a lot of people who are very successful do, is they have this like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? People who are driven for a goal usually have to be like almost bred to be hungry enough to keep going and keep going and keep going. But then once they get it, a lot of them don't have that sense of fulfillment. And that's why like people who are long-term successful in business, they're like, I need to have more, I need to have more, I need to have more. And that's the only way they can operate. And that's the way they become reliable for people who actually do see things as like a means to an end. But again, even like business adjacent people, they kind of have the weird ass fucking a weird sense of self-worth from gaining money. To them, it's just like, I need this little bit to feel like I'm worth something. I need this little bit to feel like I matter. I feel like this little bit. And when they don't do it, they keep thinking to themselves like, I need more, I need more, I need more. You know, so it's like the two dichotomies. It's the sad dichotomy of, I need more because I don't feel like I'm worth enough. Or like the other one, which is, I'm so self-confident that I need to feel how I need to feel like I'm constantly invincible. It's like, so the guys who are like overly confident and in business, they're like, fucking hell, how do I push these guys? Because it's like, I can get away with anything. I can get whatever I want. It's a lot of overindulgence. And that seems like a really weird tangent to go on in the middle of a Grand Theft Auto race. But it's kind of, it's the mindset that the people who own the current Grand Theft Auto property are in. It's like, they know how much what they own is worth, so they just want to see what they can get away with. I'm fucking certain they're going to do a free-to-play Grand Theft Auto game where everything is like, you have to pay for fucking everything and piecemeal it. Like, I think they're gonna make a subscription to have a single-player campaign. And are cars gonna be flying? Nope. And they're gonna be and they're gonna do it just to and they're gonna make it as hard as possible to go through it quickly. And because of that, it's like people are gonna have to keep paying week by week by week. It's again one of those things of like, yeah, these guys definitely will push people as far as possible because they need to make more money. That's how fucking business people are. And lawyers. But everybody knows lawyers are fucked up, so nobody really bats an eye at that. What was I gonna talk about more? Because there was something else I was gonna bring up. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you were wondering why I talked about flying cars, in the last time I recorded this, it was the funniest thing, and I'm sad the footage is lost. Is the cars, when the cars take a very strange path to some of the check marks, and because they were going so fast and didn't realize that they had to turn, they fucking flew off of the mountain because they didn't brake in time, and so they were just they were either drowning in the lake or flying to launch their car upside down. But thankfully, this endurance round has actually been pretty kind to us. Traffic hasn't been that bad. Our car has sustained minimum damage. The pain train hasn't come at any inopportune times. Oh geez, I thought that was a hard turn for some reason. And ending on a straightaway means that I can get good speed and catch up. There we go, 4:30. I think this is actually the final mission of San Fierro. No, okay, so we have country endurance. This one I actually remember being the most no, this wasn't the most frustrating. It was just really annoying. So yeah, this as a race is easy. Again, it's the term endurance fucking fits because it's just another mental and physical endurance. Physical as in your car, mental as in you driving this for long periods of time. Oh dear. But yeah. Another thing with some business people is like if you push them to like to want to fail, they'll kind of push it back in your face of like, you want us to fail, then we'll show you what'll happen if we fail. Because I think that's how the guys at Nintendo are. Because people are talking about it's like, oh, Nintendo is going into the same greedy things, and I was like, no, they're not. Because that mission, that was not a like earnest attempt at making money. That was a well, like not money directly. The fucking Mario Kart and Animal Crossing fucking price gouging mobile games, I don't see that as them making money. That's them sending a warning. That's them telling everybody who wished them to fail during the Wii U era, and where everyone was like, Nintendo needs to get out of the console race and make games because I want to play Breath of the Wild on, or sorry, not Breath of the Wild. I want to play Bayonetta 2 on my PC. That was them making their declaration of just like, no, if you want us, if you think you're going to get Breath of the Wild on the PC, you're not. You're gonna get the same games again. Because if we're out of the console race, this is where we're just gonna stop caring and make money. Because we can, and we know that we have the stuff you guys want. It's stuff like that where I'm like, okay, that's the dark side of Nintendo. Is they're not trying, is they almost are threatening to not be whimsical. It's like, do you guys really want Nintendo to fail and make games for PC now? Because it's like, they're just gonna mega subscription service it. Especially that once they go into that, it'll become, what's it called? It'll become their prerogative of like, oh yeah, you want the Mario game that nobody makes anymore because they're the only ones in the platformer game. Okay, but you gotta fucking pay like $10 per world, and the worlds are now like 3 levels instead of 6, like 6 or 7 like they usually are. I guess Odyssey is more of an open world, really. Oh dear. Oh boy. I think I got on this topic by talking about a remake of San Andreas. It actually makes me wonder about other remakes people want, and whether or not like they'll still work out. Like two games I actually don't want remade again. I say again because they've actually already had remakes, but Silent Hill and the original Metal Gear Solid. Because I actually think both of them have gotten better by feeling old. Like, I think with Silent Hill, if you made the characters look realistic, if you made the characters look like just reiterate the dialogue, and the plot, it wouldn't be scary because like everybody would like it would ground the game too much to where it would stop being scary. Because the cult business people have talked about is like, if you think about it too much, it's a bit silly, and if you ground it with realistic facial expressions, it would actually kind of hurt it. Silent Hill 3 got away with that a little bit better because they kind of framed everything not through like an adult. They framed it through a teenage girl who, like, it's more about her and her father than the cult business. It's like it's like the cult business is more of a spark rather than the actual central story. If that makes any sense. And like trying to like recreate these elements of like, oh yeah, it would be so much better. I'm like, I actually think Metal Gear Solid and Silent Hill are better for being older games because they're both like stuff that's ancient, out of date, and feels like something from another world. It actually matches with the feeling both games have. Maybe not when they were brand new, but with the story that they have. Like, a lot of the undercurrent of Metal Gear Solid is that that is that nuclear energy, nuclear weapons are an outdated idea, and it actually fits that it's represented by a bunch of characters who look worn down, who look broken, who look like they shouldn't exist. I actually think it improves both Metal Gear Solid and Silent Hill that they are old. I think it's mostly because people like are much more judgmental about a game that's doesn't look good, but honestly I think that's just a poisonous mentality. It just reminds me of when I saw like a review of Revelations 2 and it's like, oh, the graphics were disappointing. I'm like, what the fuck? You probably paid like 20 bucks for this game at most, and it was like $35 as a bundle. It's like, what the fuck are you expecting? But anyway, that was the races in San Fierro. Let's go for Las Venturas. Now, right here at this freeway interchange, at probably one of the most unassuming locations, is the next set of races. Now, I have to point out, I may sound different, because the game crashed in this set of missions, and it's a fucking good thing I segmented these. Otherwise, I would be fucking colossally pissed right now, instead of just mildly annoyed. So, I believe at this point I was talking about Silent Hill or Silent Hill and Metal Gear with the remake. I guess my baseline mindset with a lot of this stuff is like, a remake shouldn't sound like an inherently bad idea to me. So it shouldn't sound like an inherently bad idea. And I think it's more that I am not bothered by stuff that other people are. Like, I've been hearing more and more often people talk about how much graphics on old games just bother them. And it's weird to hear some people talk about that, because it's like, it's clear they don't actually have a good reference point for what graphics are, or for how graphics are, like, or what graphics were used for at certain generations. So I see people like talk about games that would have looked like above average PS2 games, and like, oh, it looks like it's from the PS1, and I'm like, what the fuck PS1 games have you played? But I think it's just, you kind of have to admit when you are into a niche. Like, that was something that I kind of eventually got over, and why I'm actually a lot less judgmental about other people playing games that I may not like. Because a lot of times, it's actually, again, goes back to Resident Evil, where it's like a lot of people talk shit about Resident Evil 1, or the Resident Evil 1 remake. There is a lot of shit to talk about Resident Evil 1, because it's actually, there are flaws that even within its niche, it's not that great. But the reason I bring this up is because I'm like, I see these guys talking shit about a game that they almost inherently wouldn't like because it's meant to be puzzle focused and it's meant to be slow. And I'm like, is that gonna be me for somebody else? Is that gonna be me as like, if I talk about fucking how, like, the story of, what's it called, Freedom Planet being so terrible, just completely, like, took me out of it. And it's not because I value story that much, it's because I kind of value each component that's in a game. So I'm like, okay, I'll take in each component as they come, and that story left such a bad taste in my mouth that I was just like, okay, it's so bad that it just lingers in my mind every time I played a gameplay segment. It's that type of bad where it's just like, what the fuck were they thinking? But I always kind of have that issue with certain games, because like, I've not played Shenmue 3, so they may be worse within their niche, and I've not played Death Stranding, but from what I've seen, both games are niche games that somehow got budgets, and like, you kind of see the reality of when niche games get budgets. And actually, I'm kind of upset about the reaction to both games. Not because I think, obviously I haven't played either of them, but not because I want like games to just be untouched. It's because the people who I saw fucking talking about them are the guys who fucking want or try to bring up the value of marketing to niches, and they're still there just completely shitting the storm of a niche game, games that actually got support. Now with Death Stranding, I can see why people would be upset, because people seemingly were expecting something in line with Metal Gear Solid, because obviously with Kojima, that's all people know about him. So they were expecting either Metal Gear Solid or Silent Hills, and then they got something that was neither. But with Shenmue, I'm like, yeah, it's what people have been asking for years, and like the reaction is just gonna make people say, just like, yeah, there's no value in making a high-budget niche game. It's like, you can be upset at whatever game is like it's not for you or whatever, but it's another thing when it's like you're kind of setting up the idea that it's like it's good to invest in niches and then just completely ass blast them for doing exactly that. But that's just sort of me. I think it's more because I kind of do want to see more niche games. Somehow I got on that subject from remakes, and I think with remakes, another thing that kind of did hurt both Death Stranding and Shenmue is expectations. What is your expectation in a remake? What is your expectation in these sequels? And a lot of people have, like, really contrasting remakes, or sorry, contrasting desires in these games. Like, their expectations were very different. Like, a lot of people came in with the expectation that a Resident Evil 2 remake should be just like the first remake, the remake of the first Metal Gear Solid game. Very, same mechanics, but you're primarily changing story elements, story beats, and the environment to make it smoother. Now, contrary to what a lot of the haters of Resident Evil 2 will say, the Resident Evil remake will say, they did that. Like, it's really weird to look at the map of Metal Gear Solid, or why do I keep saying Metal Gear Solid? Resident Evil 2, because I'm like, wow, it makes way more fucking sense than the original one did. It's like all the rooms look connected, the actual navigation is a lot smoother, and that to me is actually the core of Resident Evil, is smooth navigation where when you know where you have to go, you can help plan things out, or you can just plan things out, but you have to keep in mind, it's like, okay, were there zombies in this room? Were there zombies in that room? What enemy is there? Am I equipped to take these guys on? Am I gonna have to dodge around these guys? Although dodging in RE2 is very, very weirdly complicated. It's like somebody made a fucking document about how you can dodge zombies, either by them grabbing you or by their weird, by them grabbing you and you can just push them off occasionally. But it's fucking hard. But as I said, different expectations. It's like with Silent Hill and Metal Gear, and the first Metal Gear Solid, kind of the reason I don't want to... Oh, fuck. Damn it. Kind of a reason I don't want to see a remake of either of those games is actually, I think they actually are more appealing because they're old. Because it's like they're in their theming is stuff that is outdated, is stuff that feels like it's ancient history that shouldn't be here anymore, and yet it is. And it almost feels like it's fitting that the game itself looks like it's old and broken down. It's like, what better way to see the old, broken down veteran than to see him old and broken down? Although Snake is supposed to be 33 in that game, although they keep talking about him as if he's like fucking 53. Okay. And it's again, what do you change in Resident Evil, or sorry, what would you change in Metal Gear Solid 1 Remake? That's kind of why I appreciate a lot of the direction they went to in the actual remake that exists. Because it's like, we can't make the character look more broken down, we can't make them look more disheveled, because we have to use the Metal Gear Solid 2 engine. Because a lot of the big praise with Metal Gear Solid was that it looked revolutionary for its time. So you can't not look revolutionary. And that kind of continued on even until Phantom Pain. Phantom Pain, its trailers dropped. They made the fucking Fox engine to make everything look absolutely gorgeous. But of course, like, the engine creation for Japanese companies is kind of insane. They have the Resident Evil engine that it seems like it seems like something they were planning on using for multiple games. They're just using it for Resident Evil, and that's it. Not even selling it. God damn it! But that's kind of Japanese companies in general. They had to learn the hard way that trying to do everything themselves is either going to push your employees to the brink or is just going to make you waste a lot of money that could have gone elsewhere. I think I was also talking a lot about story games, how they were appealing to fucking... how they could be kind of appealing, how they're kind of the big generation. I'm sorry if I'm like jumping around a lot, but I'm taking a lot of time between these races to save and to travel to the racing location. And it's actually very hard to keep these in order. And obviously since I fucking... and obviously since the game hard crashed this time, the other ones were like soft crashes. This one was a hard crash. Excuse me. I'm having trouble with keeping these in mind. With a lot of the story-focused games, I found that to me was a more natural shift rather than like the much more heavily greed-focused one that the microtransaction multiplayer-focused one did. Because like people have been talking about, because there's two sects of like game designers. One is the guys who like love the lore. And love the lore and love to see things come together. They love to invest in these characters more and more, and they want to be able to do that for everything. But the other side is like the guys who make assets. That has to be one of the most boring jobs ever. And it's like when they get to have fun is in cutscenes, so where they get to set up everything and make it all look beautiful. Even though I fucking have grown to really dislike both cutscenes and cutscenes that refuse to believe they're cutscenes. Like, I kind of hate the Half-Life 2 thing, because it's like, it's a cutscene that has no skip function. But that's the sort of thing of like, people, they want to be able to make something that they can know, like, yeah, I did that. And the asset creators who make shit like just the grass, the cars, it's like, they probably don't have that vibe anymore. And that's kind of where a lot of the story focus has come to, is like, oh, making really nice cutscenes with very involved characters. I don't know, maybe the tipping point for me was just hearing, oh dear, was just hearing Jack Bauer as Snake. I'm like, why the fuck did you spend all this money for Jack Bauer? Like, nobody asked for Snake to be recast. Fucking Jesus! Another flip over, god damn it. So, I had more topics to talk about. Oh yeah, the undervalued. There's a very specific price range that I kind of hope games get to. Like, my example of a game that looked very promising that's in this price range is Streets of Rage 4. And what I mean by this $25 price range, I mean making a game that that a very select few people will like, but it's like, it's something that they will fucking adore and is specifically crafted to be the best version of that. And like, that sort of thing is like, $25 is kind of expensive for an older style game, but if you put everything into it and you make it feel like a $50 game to them, and to other people it's like, whatever, it's discount. Obviously, a lot of people's perspectives on that sort of game are skewed, because they still have the expectation of a game that costs $60, but now they can get it cheaper, quicker. And it's where I think will be a lot of the best games that are actually trying to be games and not just find the person who has a gambling addiction. Or like is vulnerable to gambling addiction. What the fuck was I gonna say else? Because the reason I bring this up is because there's two price ranges for games at the moment. It seems like it's $5 or less, or $60. It's like, it feels like there's a middle ground there that is untapped for both quality games, for fandoms, for existing fan games for existing franchises and ones that are dormant, like Streets of Rage 4 was. Although I love the story of fucking the reason that Streets of Rage 4 got canceled in the Saturn days because the president fucking didn't know what it was, or what it was. And he's like, ooh, okay, that was the last one. Neat. So I'm gonna go make another safety save, segment this off, and continue this later. Okay, so right at the entrance on the airport to the tarmac is this racing thing. So this one is not a race in the traditional sense. It is more of a flight minigame. This is this is the last segment of races, and once again, not actually races, just flying. So you are not against any competition, you're just flying to a timer, and the objective is just get all of them and try to get a high score. So these can get kind of tough. The planes, planes are easy until they're not. And what I mean by that is, if you are in control of your plane, if you aren't turning hard, if you're not banking too strongly, you can maintain pretty decent control and like avoid crashing, you can avoid damaging your plane. It can be pretty smooth. If the moment you start to lose control of the plane, it can get fucking insane. Like, you can start missing all the targets, and then you have to start doubling back, have to try to gain the same direction because you want to be able to see the next one. It can escalate and get out of hand really, really quickly. Helicopters are deceptively hard, but it's more... okay, no, they're not deceptively hard. They're actually pretty easy. It's just that if you're impatient, things will get out of hand really damn fast. Oh boy. Oh, and one of my mods that I have actually that increased the draw distance. It actually makes flying in this game really fucking lovely. It just, I'm kind of under stress because this is my third time recording, and of course I've already had a crash, so I'm like, am I gonna have a crash here? Every little stutter, I piss myself a little bit. There we go. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, 2 minutes. That's one down. Let's keep going. I remember this one actually being the hardest. So, I was talking about once again. Okay, I don't want to keep that on. That's gonna fucking be really annoying. I was talking about the the unused, like the very rarely seen $25 game range for a lot of stuff. The reason I bring that up is because I think I brought up like Shovel Knight as a comparison of like that sort of game. I want to see the Shovel Knight of an old style Resident Evil game. I want to see the Shovel Knight of like the principles of an older style Tomb Raider game. But again, even within that comes the expectation. Like an older style Resident Evil game, I actually still want the old camera angles. I want the tank controls, but a lot of people don't, because we've come into a generation where most people's defining Resident Evil game is Resident Evil 4. But then again, even that one is, like I mentioned with remakes, that's a game that people want a remake of for some fucking reason, but what do you change? What do you focus in on? It's like, and what do you take out? What do you keep in? It's like you take out Ashley. Like people would say, it's like, oh, obviously, cut down on Ashley. By how much? Because do you guys realize how little Ashley there is in Resident Evil 4? She's there in, so one chapter from the church to the cabin, then one chapter from the cabin to entering the castle, one chapter from the castle, from the entrance to the castle to her getting captured, so that's 3 chapters, and then you play as her for 1 chapter, I'm not going to count that because that's not what people complain about with Ashley. And then it's just... And then it's like not even at the end of that is Ashley still there. She's gone by the end of that chapter. Although those two last ones I mentioned are like the longest ones. And then it's one more and then she's captured again. So it's like, what is the expectation to change? And you kind of carry that expectation anytime there's a sequel or any sort of anything that carries the label back to the old style or a return to form. It's like a return to what? What are you keeping what people like? And are you keeping what people thought was memorable? But that's why I kind of like the $25 range, because it's like you can focus in what most people, you can focus in on what somebody really loves. And if people don't like it, then, oh well, whatever. It's just, it wasn't that much of an investment. We put some time and money, but it's not like the company's gonna die. The reason I bring that up is because a lot of video games right now are just like, it feels like they're constantly 1 second away from the companies going under. And it just makes sense to me to go for ventures that aren't necessarily lucrative, but they're likely to be consistent and low risk. Although, I imagine that has to be really difficult to maintain. Because I'm like, okay, you have like this many people in charge of the technical, you have this many programmers, you have this many artistes. If you want to keep costs down, you have to cycle them in between projects, and that is probably a very exhausting process for those guys. It's actually kind of the elements that nobody really thinks about with a lot of these developments. It's like, it's kind of sad that like the grim stories you hear about Red Dead Redemption, I'm just gonna keep this on to cheer myself up. Is that the grim stories about like Red Dead Redemption's 2's team being like worked to the death is just a default story now. It's just like, yeah, we know this is how things go. It actually makes me really nervous about other companies, because I've heard like really bad shit about the film industry, where they're just like, your expectation is you're working for free for a certain time. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Work at one job and you work another one just to get clout at a chance moving forward. It's like, but it's kind of like what I mentioned earlier. Or, did I mention it earlier? I might have been cut from the, it might have been cut due to being in the portion that crashed. But, if people don't see it, it's like, do you really need to inform them? Because they're not going to care about what they don't see. All you see is just what's on the screen. It's like, I don't know the programmer's life. All I can see is the stuff he programmed here. So anyway, next up is military service, which is not the last one, but it's the jet one. I think it's the last plane one. This one, when I first did it, is actually really tricky. But I used this as my practice for when I was figuring out if my game had a huge corruption bug. But I figured out the secret, and it's the dumbest thing. It's just stop pressing the gas. It's just slow the fuck down, and then it's easier to control. See, this is easy. No hard banking. Like, I'll admit that this thing is the most fun to mess around with when you never remove your finger from the accelerator. But this actually controls pretty smoothly just by not accelerating. Oh, mama. But yeah, I think I said, it's like, I want to see the $20 version of a Tomb Raider game. And I know that can be done well, because they've done the $1 version of a Tomb Raider game, and it's probably one of the most true to the spirit. I'm not gonna say downgrade, but it's like true to the spirit, low budget game I've ever played, and it's Lara Croft Go. It like for $1, it is exactly what it should be. It's like figured out what was the core of the older style Tomb Raider games. Like a certain amount of exploration, a certain amount of movement, a certain amount of discovery of hidden items, a certain amount of puzzle solving, and a certain amount of navigating around enemies that were very tricky to take out because you had to keep your distance and work with the auto aim. It captures fucking the older style. It's like it's budget, but it's good budget. I think as far as the smart budgeted $60 game, at the moment the From Software are the guys who are kind of known to be the good guys for that. Because they're like pretty they are making a niche game, but they made a niche game that caught on. And like nobody knows how to do that, so they just kind of follow trends. And I guess that is like the safest bet for business types. Because as I said, it's like the business type is more about more. And then once they feel fulfilled enough like about that, then they go for make me feel invincible. So by taking all the dangerous risks. And if it fails, whatever. I got my enjoyment. And the only people who have to suffer are those who don't have jobs. Oh shit! And this is where flying the jet can be fucking scary. I don't want to fly too far out because I think they may have like a radius where you just fail, but don't quote me on that. Okay, there we go. I think I've succeeded. No, I didn't! There we go. Oh man. So this one has been far more mellow than I started out with, because I spent 5 hours getting this thing working, like dealing with Bandicam issues, dealing with San Andreas issues. It still crashed, but got it running. Like I said, you guys don't get to see me frustrated at 5 hours over programming. All you have to see is final product. You have to see me going through the races. Driving around this game that took about 1.5 years to make. A lot of people's Christmas 2004 gift. Although I think like the more between it's like this and Halo 2 are the two memories people have around that time. I also had Metroid Prime 2, but I didn't play it once I got San Andreas because it was just like I wanted to play a lot of this. And it ends around here. I'm actually flying pretty well. Flying skill, by the way, has nothing to do with anything you do when you fly. It's just time-based, and that's it. There we go. 5-minute jet run. Next up is Chopper Checkpoint. The Chopper missions, I said they're easy. They're... okay. They're easy in the sense that you're not very likely to lose control. But what you are very likely to lose is your patience. Because if you don't slow down, you will probably destroy your helicopter. But the helicopter has kind of a weird mechanic where it's like if the rotor like touches anything, it kind of pushes you away from it. Because of that, your helicopter is a lot easier to keep safe. But unfortunately, this makes this kind of uneventful. Which is part of what I actually went for with this game discussion. Because I was just like, okay, how much can I talk about a race? And, what was the next thing? Oh, yeah. With the $25 game thing, I'm kind of concerned about the label of overpriced with certain games, if they ever went there. Because I remember a game that to me stood out among the overpriced discussion was actually Ground Zeroes. Because everyone kept saying it's like, we should have gotten this game for free because it's a fucking demo. And if you're talking about story, yes, it was a fucking demo. But if you're talking about, like, a range of multiple gameplay modes that you're intended to replay, I'm like, no, it's a full fucking package. Like, the 5 or 6 missions actually, it's jarring to see, like, the time stamp I had versus everybody else. Because it's like, most people played 2 hours and they were done. I got all 100% of the stuff in, like, 40 hours, and I actually really enjoyed my time there. I think I briefly mentioned this in a video I made, which was, like, I loved the gameplay and I hated the story. It was, like, that one was, like, kind of the point in which I started to suspect that Kojima wasn't as good as he previously made himself look, because that story is like the pinnacle of try hard, of like I'm trying very hard to be edgy and serious, but I'm going to present it in an avant-garde way. And that's kind of true about the Phantom Pain in general. It actually does make me wonder, with him and Inafune, it's like, if we really should, because people used to say, it's like, oh, there should be, like, single credit game designers. I'm like, this just kind of shows that game design is an inherently collaborative thing. And it just makes me wonder, I'm like, who are the 2 or 3 guys that really defined Mega Man or Metal Gear Solid or whatever? And we kind of saw this with Hideki Kamiya, because he made Evil Within, and everyone was just like, oh, that one's just kind of a generic Resident Evil 4 game. It's like, is he, or sorry, not Hideki Kamiya, it was Shinji Mikami. And it's like, who was the other guys who got him to focus up? Although from what I understand, Evil Within 2 is actually a very, like, is closer to what people wanted. Okay, so it looks like I got 2 more. We're close. Don't have to hear me rambling. And immediately when I start talking about these things being easy to control, I almost 9/11 myself. Okay. I really should not use that as a verb. Oh my god. Okay. Man. It's always nice to see things come together well. Like, the first time I recorded this, I was optimistic and actually did a decent job of coming up with topics off the top of my head. Second time I did this, I was extremely frustrated, which I thought would be hilarious, but it's just gone now. But this one kind of mellowed out. Like, I'm expecting things to fail, but... Or, sorry, I'm expecting things to fail, but I already know that most of the work is salvaged, or is salvageable. Although, speaking of unsalvageable, the fucking Bandicam fix corrupt video bullshit. It says that it can fix videos that are corrupt. Bullshit! Every single video I've put in there has just crashed the fixer. So, all that seems to do is show it's just like, no, you're fucked, mate. But that's how things go sometimes. Oh, by the way, if you, I don't know if you're astute about the percentages. Oh, fucking hell. About the percentages on at the end of these videos. If I remember correctly from practice, this one skyrockets the percentage counter, because I think the game grades each race like as its own thing, and it's fucking huge. I think if you take into account every single race in the game, you go up by around I think it's either 12 or 13% for just the races. Who fucking distributed this? And why do they love street racing so much? Oh, I should have brought this up when I was on the car, but another game I want to see in the $25 focused, short but loving game category. I should not have phrased it that way. It makes it sound like some weird fucking sexual fetish. But another game I want to see get the shovel knighting effect. Burnout. Oh my god, it's so sad what happened to it. I could go. The actual story of Burnout is kind of complicated, but you can summarize it in 2 letters. EA. Yeah. It's unfortunate that a lot of people's dreams of the focused, big budget, big focus game is basically dead because a lot of the niche games that do have a budget have either gotten very polarizing reception, or they're just or they're in the hands of people who are not going to, or they are inherently difficult to get with to get working well. And what I mean by that is stuff like games that require brand names like actual car companies. Yeah, that's not going to happen anymore if they are willing to, if they don't want you to crash their car. Or sports teams. People who love NFL Blitz. Fucking hell. The people who want that to come back are you have to just stare at Madden being big every year and just saying nope, they have no reason to change it up. If it don't fix, don't broke. If it ain't fixed, don't broke it. And come on. Oh my god. I talked about... Oh no, this is bad. So, because the helicopter pushes you away, it also kind of rotates. Because of this... Oh, that was really hard to get out of, actually. Holy shit. Yeah, some games are just unfortunately tied to being expensive and can't be that good of, can't get that good of a high, can't get that good of a, high detail treatment, if that makes any sense. But then again, there's one game, it's a fucking awesome looking, it's a game that, well no, not awesome looking, it actually looks like shit, but it's because it's deliberately looking like an old Quake game. It's a combination of a really nice old horror game and a really nice Quake knockoff. So it's it's its own focused niche. It was basically an early access game for a while, but I remember I added it to my wish list, and then eventually it came out full and proper, and the first thing I noticed, oh my god, the reviews for a $20 game, overwhelmingly positive, is kind of insane to see, because it's usually only by fanboying, and usually that kind of is tied heavily to bigger budget. Ah, shit. It's not. I was gonna say Hexen, but that's actually a different game. It does have an X in it, though. God damn it! What is it? It was on a fucking Dusk. That was it. Dusk, and it's actually a pretty cool game. And I think marrying the idea I've had of oh yeah, developers who aren't really the solo reason why the games are good. The guys who were in charge of what's it called? Clock Tower. They actually made a game, and it eventually did come out, and unfortunately they say it's way fucking buggier than any of the previous Clock Tower games. But I don't really like that people then attached it to, went to another game. I think it's called Remothered. And everyone's saying it's oh, this is what the Clock Tower game should have been. And I'm like, it's like the Clock Tower concept, but you just added in Resident Evil 4 style controls. I'm like, I don't like the over-centralization of shit. I don't like there to be, one mold that everybody likes to use. Because I don't like over-homogenization. I even see this in some art designs. Like, I don't like... Okay, the basic design of Claire in Resident Evil 2, I'm actually fine with that because it actually is a good middle ground of all of her designs that she's had in Resident Evil 2, Code Veronica, and Revelations 2. But the one that that she has once you're in Nest, where it's just like, oh, okay, now she's just wearing an undershirt. I'm like, that's fucking lame. You're telling me you couldn't have her wear the black sleeved outfit? Were they worried that people would be concerned about like her titties being out? Her fucking titties are out way more in this one because they actually gave her cleavage, which I think is the first time she's ever had cleavage in any default costume. And there we go. Talk about titties, and then you get the bonus for winning all races, $1 million, which I think is the highest payment you get for anything in this game. Bigger than breaking into a vault. Getting winning races will get you a lot of money. Now I have to save before I fucking hell, of course.
Hey, guess what? It's low.
I have to save before. God damn it! I have to save before the game crashes. Okay. So, I guess that's gonna have to be it for this part of Let's 100% San Andreas. Join me next time when I do something that is actually more natural to do in segments, and that is the import-export garage. And I believe I also finish up... What the fuck do I finish up? Oh, I do a few more missions for Sweet, I believe. No, I'm doing... Oh shit, okay, I'm just gonna say fuck it. Join me next time, do import-export, do another shit, whatever. See you guys then. Notice her leg clipping through the table. I've never heard of that as an appeal of crack. It's just like it's the rich man's high. Don't rich people just do regular cocaine? Unprocessed?
Everything is KKK.
Oh, I guess like I guess unprocessed cocaine would be the coca plant. Man, they could not have made her face look more warped if they wanted to.
Hey man, that shit steal your heart.
It's like she's a fucking walking skeleton.
Hey, open the door, punk.
Fool.
Yo, you messing up the
Yeah, once again, another thing here is that it's Carl leading the charge with only Sweet providing backup. The fucking guy's head peeking out.
Smoke's fucking crazy. He paranoid.
So I'm assuming that the actual thing they're confronting him about is offering the crack to Sweet. Which is kind of interesting is that Smoke thinks enough of Sweet once he's out of jail to offer him basically subservitude under crack.
And I'll give you a whole quarter sack.
I don't know how the fuck they were expecting Big Bear to be a threat. He's not a big motherfucker, and he's doesn't have a gun, doesn't have a knife.
Give me 20 bucks and I'm all yours, man. Blast from the past.
The way that he phrases this, it's like he knew that this guy was done, but that he still just wanted drugs.
The world's bigger than this hood.
This is where our lives begin and where it's probably going to end.
That sentence is, while a bit morbid, basically does indicate that Sweet's response is, the world is the hood to us, and it should be to you too. Which is probably why Carl was ever able to get out of here. But then again, he wasn't really... He didn't come out of his own volition. He was forced out by Tenpenny.